All right, changing minds. I love this topic. I love the psychology and everything that goes around with this, like the thought process. So, effectively, you want to achieve two things. You want to change your prospect's mind, and in doing so, agreeing with you. Right? That's basically the crux of what we're trying to achieve. Now, the thing that is important to remember is people don't like making decisions. They certainly don't like making big decisions, and they don't like making decisions that have a high impact or perceived cost or them, effort of them to do something. So, to give you an example, if I were to offer you an all expenses paid trip to the destination of your dreams, you'd probably go, yeah, look, I'd love to. Now, if I said, okay, we leave in 10 minutes, I bet the next thing that you would say, the next words out of your mouth would be, I need to talk to my partner, I've got this event on, I need to get a babysitter or like a pet sitter, I've got this project at work, oh man, like if it was any other time, I could go. Because the problem is twofold. You've asked them to make a decision now, and that has a high impact. Now, if I change that slightly and said, look, awesome, I'm gonna pay that, all expenses done, you're great, it's in 3 months, your answer would be, yep, easy, done. Because we always prefer a decision that we think is far off, we can prepare for, that's low impact, low risk, low pain. Now, if you take this a step further, I apply this when I speak from stage. And when you speak from stage, you need to remember that the audience is varied. You're not talking one-on-one. So there are some other dynamics here. So it's not keep that in mind. But I've done my job, I've presented, it's great, they love it, and now is not the time to try and sell, right? If you're speaking at an industry conference or something like that, typically, like not always, but typically, the end, your call to action, is not the time to ask your audience to make a big decision or a large investment or something that makes them do something, right? Your job is to get them to ask for more information. Your job is to get them to come and talk to you, right? So whenever I spoke, whether it was Gartner or an OpenStack Summit or Red Hat Forum or any industry event, it was, if this sounds interesting, if you think that we might be able to help you, I'd love to have a chat. Come and see me at the booth. We'll see what we can do. A chat doesn't cost anything. There's no risk. I can walk away. They won't get me. So all of a sudden you're now mobbed. Now, yes, you need to ask for the action. You need to invite them to come and speak to you. That's the number one reason people don't buy is they're not asked. But following that, the decision that you're asking them to make is small. It's low risk, it's low investment. But along that journey, you need to get lots of little yeses, right? So once you get them to the booth or the one-on-one conversation at the back, then you can tailor that conversation. You can make it more personable. You can ask those probing questions, those open-ended questions to find out what it is exactly that resonated with them. Why are they having this conversation? What is it that you would like to discuss? And from there, you can then go and take that next step. Because changing minds is all about lots of micro yeses to get the macro yes. And then you need lots of those macro yeses to get the actual sale. And if you think about this in terms of like the sales or the marketing funnel, most people think that it's like this and people fall out the sides. That's wrong, right? The funnel's actually like this. You're fighting gravity because people don't want to make a decision. And it's not because they don't like you, although that's possible. It's not because they don't have a problem, because everyone does. It's not because your solution is rubbish, right? It may be. It's because they just don't want to make a decision, right? So you're always fighting. There's always that friction. So your job is to get little yeses. Now, whether that is in the grand scheme of things of this sales motion, or just a simple conversation, right? If you are selling, some health program, if you went to a bunch of health professionals and tried to sell it directly to them, it's unlikely to succeed because their immediate position will be, well, I'm qualified, I'm a nutritionist, I'm a doctor, like I'm a clinician, like what do you know? Even if you do, right? You're challenging them. But if you went to hairdressers, beauty therapists, some other tangential industry and got them to sell it on and form some form of networked relationship, you're much more likely to be successful coming alongside, right? It's the same thing when you're having conversations. I always explain to sales reps the first few times I worked with them that my style is very different, right? And it's based on psychology. There's changing minds, there's bypassing no, there's the slight edge, right? There's all this material behind it, right? There's the go-giver, endless referrals, like the list is endless. Some of them are in the bookshelf here. So you might think that I'm meandering all over the place. It's like, Andrew, get to the point, like ask the question. But if I did, like all of a sudden they're jolted. It's like, well, you want me to make a decision? You need to get people into this mindset and this comfort zone of agreeing with you and saying yes. So you ask lots of little innocuous, harmless questions just to slowly move them, and then you ask the question that you actually care about. Now, you don't want to waste time and sit there for 3 hours to find out, like, what's your name, right? That's silly. Like, there's skill involved here, right? But the crux of it is, don't go head on and, like, bing bang, ask you a big question, because they're likely to say no. And not because of any other reason than they just don't like making a decision. People don't like to say yes. Our default position is no, because it's safety. It's the status quo. It's like, well, I know what my risks are now. I don't know what that is. It could be worse, right? That whole devil you know kind of thing. So, ask the little questions. Get the prospect to feel safe. Get them to agree with you. Get them to say lots of little yeses, and then they're much more likely to say yes to the thing that you actually want, where you want them to take action. One of my mentors, said to me, and this always has stuck in my head. Imagine there's two people and they're looking at each other. And he said, look, Andrew, we're having a conversation, and if I wanted you to look over there and I just turned you around, I'm going to snap your neck. Well, how is that helpful? What I need to do is slowly take you on a journey. Now, this is true in a one-on-one conversation or like a meeting, as much as it is on the overall sale, right? You're taking people on a journey of discovery, of realization, but you can't do it all in one step. Like, it's like dating, right? You can't go up to someone, well, there's no absolutes, except that there's no absolutes, right? But, your likelihood of success of going up to someone and saying, hey, you want to get married? They're like, I don't even know you, right? You need to go on a date. You need to, form some form of rapport and connection, right? You need to get them to fall in love with you, or whatever it is, right? There needs to be this compact, this arrangement, this agreement. So that doesn't just happen in one question, right? So getting people to change their minds is about lots of micro yeses to get a macro yes. And then you need lots of macro yeses to get the thing, right? And this is a journey. And again, like every action that you undertake within this sales process, or the buying process, which is more important, is designed to turn the prospect's head to look in the same direction, and then look down and sign the contract. Press hard 3 copies, keep the pen still or move the paper, right? They're not going to do that with you just rocking up, show up and throw up, right? So, walking in and like just shouting speeds and feeds and talking about how great you are, like, no, right? The prospect doesn't care about you. They care about them. And the way that you change that mindset, the way that you get them to start seeing the world as you do, or that as the way you wish they do, is through getting lots of little agreements, right? So, as John C. Maxwell very clearly says, no one cares about how much you know until they know how much you care. And you do that through questions. You do that through your actions. And just coming at someone directly, trying to get some action or a result, shows them that you care about yourself, not them. one of the very powerful ways that you can show that you care is by engaging, asking questions, being that familiar, safe person. And you do that by having agreement, by asking low risk, low danger questions. When you say, so Mr. Customer, what do you reckon? Why don't we get the teams together, get them to hash it out, and then next week, you buy. So, whoa, like, hey, it's just a first date, buddy, we just met, right? Much more likely to be successful in your process by getting lots of little yeses. Now that starts in marketing, it starts in nurture, it continues in the initial follow-up, whether that's through an enterprise, sales executive, or if you've got like an inside sales team or like an outbound telemarketing team, like however your organization, progresses this process, that everything's about getting a little yes, just a little bit further. Now, obviously, don't take forever, right? That's silly. But don't go from A to X and then hope to go to Z straight away, or Z, right? You need to go to A, and then to B, and then to C. Then you go to D. D's a big one. Then you go to E, F, right? Slowly, right? Getting them agreeing, slowly turning their head, right? The psychology of this is super powerful. Now, it's going to take practice, right? Took me a while, but now, like initially, as I said, like I'd tell new sales reps that I worked with, look, this is how I'm going to operate. And, after the meeting, like after that first sales meeting that we have, they're like, dude, like, I didn't know what you were doing. Like, you're walking around this garden path, and then all of a sudden, like, it happened. So, yeah, like, do you remember Grant? I remember Grant. Do you remember that, I explained this? It's like, Now, technical people find this the hardest. And just through their personalities, through their nature, through the style of work, like things are much more black and white. Just because that's the world they live in. It's not right or wrong, it's just different. So this is generally harder for a technical person, but it is so powerful. It's actually more powerful when a technical person does this to another technical person, because again, everything's black and white, and if you come at a technical person straight up, they're likely to buck. So learning this skill, applying it, honing it, like making it work for you, your life is going to be so much easier in all aspects. Try it at home, all right? Little things, getting little yeses, little agreements, are much more likely to get you the yes that you actually care about. So thanks.